In this screencast, I'm going to demonstrate how to view a book object in the repository browser. We'll begin by opening the repository browser. It presents a relatively simple interface. Across the top are several tabs. The left two tabs correspond to the object stores that this repository browser knows about. It knows about a local object store, and it knows about the Collections Interoperability Hub, here labeled CI Hub. For each object store that it knows about, it presents a folders and files tree structure representing the hierarchical arrangement of objects within the object store. In the local object store, we haven't got very much. We have a root folder, we have a user space folder, and within that, a couple of user folders. It's one for me, one for Scott. I'll open my folder. We see another folder within it. If we click on that folder, we'll see that over to the right, a title is displayed. And that indicates that this folder is a book folder, a Bamboo book object. We'll now open that folder, and we should expect to see pages in it. And we do. There aren't very many. Let's click on one of these pages. I'll click on page 5. Over to the right, you see we have something that looks like page 5 text, and we see the word HTML highlighted. These terms here represent the manifestations of the page that are available in this particular rendering of this book. So there's an HTML manifestation. There's an image manifestation. This is a facsimile of the book page, original book page. Here's plain text. Here's a morph-adorned version of the text, a richly annotated version of the text that marks for each word what it is, the lemma, and so on associated with it. And then here is a TEI encoding of that same page. We have some funny looking characters here. We've done a little bit of investigation and discovered that that's actually in the source, and they're carried forward through from the original repository. So odd enough artifact of the whole process, but it's upstream of any processing that we've done in Bamboo. Well, that's a page object within a book object as stored in the local object store. If we click on the CI Hub, we see, well, there's a root folder called Content. There's another folder, REQ. I don't actually know what that means. But here's a folder that belongs to me under my initials. I'll open that, and I see that I have a couple of folders in here and a couple of files. In another screencast, I describe how these files were used to obtain book objects from source repositories. The objects that we obtained are these two. So let's look at this. Again, we clicked on that and we see that over to the right in the object viewing area, we have the title, we have an author, we have a publication date. If we open that object, again, we should expect to see some pages, and we do. There are a great many more pages this time. Let's take a look at, say, page 15. Here's a page image. This is, again, photograph of the original book. Here's plain text, and here is a TEI wrapper around that text. Notice that in this case there are fewer manifestations than there were available for the previous title we looked at in the local object store. This object was obtained from the HathiTrust, and it turns out that there are fewer manifestations available in HathiTrust, just two, an image and a plain text manifestation. In the CI Hub, we wrapped the plain text in some simple TEI tags, and we did that as a step towards normalizing the content so that it can be submitted to tools which expect that the object submitted to it will be a TEI encoded text. And one of the things the CI Hub does is this sort of normalization. In the object that we looked at in the local object store, we saw a much richer set of annotations made available in the text. And that is because this text was obtained through the TCP collections. And those collections include morph-adorned markup of the text, as well as a richer TEI encoding. And the plain text in that case is the derived object. It's derived by stripping out the TEI tags. Similarly, the HTML rendering is a derived object. Here, we don't have an HTML rendering at all. We only have plain text, and the derived object is TEI. So the strategy in the CI Hub is to provide a common set of manifestations when it makes sense to do that. And what you get and how richly they are encoded depends on the source repository. Now for now, we're going to skip the copy tab here. There's another screencast in which I demonstrate how one copies content from the CI Hub to the local object store using the functionality on this copy tab. View that screencast if you're interested in that. Well, that's the end of this screencast. I've set out to show you the simple view of objects that's available in the repository browser. Thanks.